Alright, me podcast, you listen live for Wrestling Wrestlemania Part 2, second day. I'm here with my co-host, MC. MC, how's it going today?
Good, sir. Glad to be back for Part 2 of this, and we're joined by none other than SCW Wrestling Superstar, former WWE Champion, the German Dread, the Munich Mauler, calling himself the Great Destroyer now. None other than the Ramrock. Welcome.
Thank you guys. As always, so excited to be talking about WrestleMania Day 2. Definitely looking forward to breaking down this card and talking about the good matches and the stinker matches too. Always love being on the show.
Night 2 definitely had some questionable match choices too, so we're gonna have some fun here.
You know, I was thinking about some. You guys, I remember when we had this conversation about WrestleMania, and I remember you guys were like, "This is not gonna be a good one." But though the first episode of this, you guys seem to be shocked and surprised that it actually was not bad.
Completely. I've actually said this several times now. This was the worst WrestleMania card in the history of WrestleMania, but the show still turned out pretty damn good. Very surprising.
Day 1 was very good.
Day 2, not so much. As we'll break this stuff down for you, I was definitely I think I was even more disappointed in Night 2. So
look at that, MC disagreeing with Rocky already. We need to have a match now because Rocky's like, this was pretty good, and MC's like, I disagree. I'm gonna disagree. And now Rocky's gonna step in and say, you know what, MC, I kind of agree with you. I do agree. It wasn't that great. It does suck.
Isn't that why we have this podcast? Isn't that why we talk about this? Is, so we can, agree to disagree and let the listeners decide, what they feel.
And that's
the whole purpose of doing this.
And why we do this by the phone, so that you and MC just don't start brawling in the studio. That's why.
Well, we literally have the entire ocean to cross to get to me because I'm over here in Germany, so.
I would hardly think it would be a Stone Cold versus KO matchup. I think it would be Ramrock probably whipping me through the walls of the studio, and I don't want any part of that.
No, we're good friends,
Yeah.
I'll keep the beating to a minimum.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, you could just slap a submission hold on. And,
no, I think it should be a strap match.
Oh, a strap match?
Yep. That would be fun.
Well, if we're beating up studio hosts, why don't you just get involved there too, Coach JC?
Yeah, there we go.
I hurt my back the other day sneezing, so I can't do it anymore.
The old back injury. Okay.
Everything hurts waking up.
I'm gonna sell it. Oh, my back! And then when you turn your back, I'm gonna jump you.
Classic heel maneuver.
Might as well turn back the clock, get Faster Andy in the studio, and make it a 4-way brawl.
Oh, there we go. Absolutely.
Faster
Andy, we love you. We miss you. How's your head feeling still after that wrench?
Yeah.
Geriatric brawl. The Ramrock takes on 3 old men in the studio.
Oh, man.
We're going to need a wrench for sure.
Yep.
All right, well, let's get this started. Day 2. What was the first match of the evening?
Well, our ESPN link is a little out of order, but I do remember first one. That shows you how our memories are, and that was, I believe, if not mistaken, the RKBro, defending their Raw Tag Team titles against none other than the Street Profits and, thank you, the Alpha Academy, Chad Gable, and the big man, Otis. Rock, what did you think about this one?
So, I found it very interesting that both hot openers for Night 1 and Night 2 were the tag team matches. That was interesting choice, personally. I'm going to be 100% honest. I really didn't care at all about this match. There was no teams that, like, really stood out to me. I've kind of been kicking a dead horse with how I feel about Randy Orton. Obviously, he's having a lot of fun, and he's enjoying his time and doing his tag team thing with Riddle, which is great for him. You know, it's good that he's happy, and he's obviously a huge star, but the whole thing is just a little boring to me, to be honest, and I really didn't care much about this match. In fact, if I'm pretty sure that RKO or RKBro did win the match. Is that right?
Oh yeah. So, I'm not sure. Maybe you're half paying attention to the match, Rock. I didn't care going in, but I will say, and maybe it had a lot to do with the crowd being kind of hot for it. I did when I went back because, you know, due to the late nature of this, I had to rewatch a couple of these matches later. This was actually a hot match, and it was probably because it was kicking off the night or whatnot. I actually thought this had a lot of fire, and it was more entertaining than I was going to give it credit for. And yeah, RK Bro is over. No matter what, I want to see Orton turn on Riddle, or maybe they'll do a swerve and one day have Riddle turn on him. There is absolutely no question that they're over with the crowd. Their merchandise is selling like crazy. That's why they haven't been broken up to this point. And I think all three teams worked super hard. I mean, maybe you want to go back and rewatch this one, but I actually enjoyed this one a lot. I mean,
yeah,
I think this one delivered about as best it could. I mean, on paper, it's probably like Rock said, maybe not the most enticing matchup since they faced each other too many times, but I think for the WrestleMania quality, I think it delivered. I mean, and you had a little shenanigans at the end too, which we can talk about.
Well, and at the end, right? Like I think that was honestly my biggest gripe. It just really felt like the match was just a total throwaway match, and just to bring in this Olympic wrestler, who I can't think of his name at this time.
Gable Steveson,
yeah. And, I mean, who looks phenomenal. And, you know, but literally the whole match was basically just a throwaway for him to come in and get his spot in on Athlete Academy. And I don't know. This match just didn't do nothing for me. So, though, RK Bro, as you said, they are over, and, you know, it doesn't seem like they're going to break them up anytime soon. I don't think Orton really wants to either. I mean, he's definitely gone on record saying he's having a lot of fun doing the tag thing, and they are over. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on this match.
Yeah.
The switch by MC to get Rocky to change his vote.
And to be fair, I will rewatch the match.
Yeah, I think he needs to rewatch it because I think maybe he was not. I mean, to give Rock credit, he's probably not interested because of how many times these teams have faced each other. So probably, and we all do that. We zone out or we're half paying attention to certain matches. If you rewatch this match again, and Gable Steveson aside, because I wasn't really a huge fan of that, anyways, throwing around Chad Gable, watch him change his name again, but that will be cool when eventually you could see them square off to two Olympians. But I think the match was probably up there for one of the top matches of the night, and that's not probably saying a whole lot for night two, but I don't think you could have got a better match out of what these guys did. But I think you're kind of maybe underselling the match if you go back and watch it. It was up there, I think, for one of the top ones of the night. Maybe wasn't a whole lot to expect from it, but there was nothing else these guys could have done, I think, given the circumstances.
You want to know what's funny? This whole time, not a single none of the three of us have even mentioned the Street Profits.
Yeah.
Seriously, who cares about this team? I'm sorry. Yeah, athletically they're great and all that, but just that just goes to show you just how little anybody cares about this team. They were just well, gee, I guess we should make this a triple threat. Who else do we have? All right, Street Profits, here you go. Good luck. They just feel like, they're stellar athletes. Yeah, just they have nothing going for them. They're like a poor man's Crime Time almost.
Yeah, there's no edge to them right now. I think maybe they need the heel turn, but I don't even, and under what capacity, because it's just Yeah, it's just going to be tough for them because they're way overshadowed by RKBro. I mean, Alpha Academy has done a great job establishing identity with Chad's catchphrases. Otis is just a tank. I think the Street Profits really need some sort of edge to get them, before they fall further on that card.
Personally, I think Heavy Machinery was a missed opportunity and a misuse by WWE. I enjoyed Heavy Machinery and the look that Otis brought a lot more than this Alpha Academy thing. Not taking away anything from Chad Gable. Again, a hell of an athlete. But, yeah, they're just not doing it for me, man. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, because I was a big fan of the American Alpha. And, yeah, Heavy Machinery, even though Otis was clearly the star of that, yeah, I think because of the loss of the two tag teams, they've been formed into one. And, I definitely feel like they've gone further probably than the storyline and writers have probably even imagined. That's a credit to both Otis and Chad Gable. But, yeah, Raw tag team division is kind of a mess. And, when you've got two single stars like Orton and Riddle carrying it, yeah, that's never really the best scenario I could picture for the tag team division going forward.
Yeah.
But let's move on to the second match, if I'm going down the card correctly. We had the returning after he seemingly was going to be out for a while. Bobby Lashley, who suffered a shoulder injury at the Royal Rumble to Brock Lesnar. He came back to challenge Omos. And I'll cede to you, Rock. What did you think of this match?
With permission, I'd like to kind of rewind a little bit. I think we missed a very important part of the show, and that was actually the opening of WrestleMania 38 Night 2 with Triple H coming out and leaving his boots in the ring, which anybody who is familiar with the business, that is a tradition of somebody who's retiring, is to leave your boots in the center of the ring and walk away. Obviously, very shocking, and just for me personally, it was very heart-wrenching because I love Triple H. I love the game. I respect everything he's done. He's just been a massive part of the business, and for him to not be able to end his career on his own terms just really sucks, That's something that's very important to me in my career. I hope that I have the opportunity to end it on my terms and not be told I have to end it, But unfortunately.
So Rock, what do you mean? What do you mean by your own terms? Like what? Catch me up on this. What are you talking about? Why didn't he get the?
So Triple H's heart failed on him. He actually, I want to say he was in ICU for a while. His heart just failed on him, and the doctors just basically told him you can't ever wrestle again. And MC, feel free to chime in and correct me if I'm wrong on that, but it just really sucked because it was just so quiet, and then all of a sudden he comes out to the ring and leaves his boots, or he did his interview on ESPN first and kind of announced that he'd never wrestle again. And I just felt like it was just, it was just sad. Like I wanted to see Triple H go out like a warrior, go out on a shield per se, like you should. But it happens.
I think, and as much as I agree with you, and I think that would have been cool to see the inevitable match with Cody, I think Triple H is lucky to be alive.
Yes. Yes.
If you read between the lines, I don't want to get into my theories on it. That's not privately I can, but I think if you read kind of between the lines of what the interview was saying, you could kind of, unfortunately, Triple H had his theories and too with family history and stuff. I feel terrible, but for the number one thing is, especially for his young daughters and everything, just glad that he's still here and still alive. And I think watch the interview too, I think he's very appreciative of that as well. And I think that makes it a little easier to take, because considering I think he was, according to the indications, that he was very close to the Widowmaker, basically, that would have killed him. And I think at this point, that first and foremost has to trump anything else of wanting to see him his last match in the ring or retirement match at WrestleMania. Just to be thankful he's still here to still influence the business, hopefully in a positive manner. Because that was a pretty scary story for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, at the end of the day, my boss always tells us that you're a man before you're a wrestler. And for Triple H, that's exactly what this is, you know, he's a father, he's a husband, before he is a wrestler, before he is an entertainer. And it's an absolute miracle that he did pull through, he did survive, and it's wonderful that he's there so he can continue to be a father and a husband, and because at the end of the day, that's what matters more than anything else. So it's just, you know, I've got so much respect and love for everything that he has done for this business, for everything that he's done for the industry as a whole. And obviously, it was heartbreaking to see him have to leave and not, you know, and not leave on his own terms. But, you know, just like you said, at the end of the day, it was obviously the very much the right choice, and he's grateful to be alive. So.
Well, yeah, if he's got a defibrillator in his heart, there's, you know, what you just said, you know, obviously the thing, you know, wrestling career is over, but the good thing is he could still, you know, and you see that touching moment he had with Ciampa at NXT Stand and Deliver. If you haven't yet, I definitely would, you know, suggest that, because there's the rumors of Ciampa being called up to the main, you know, permanently to the main roster, or maybe possibly in that Edge faction, but. Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of NXT members that owe a lot of their career to Triple H, and he's highly influential no matter if he's truly still involved with a lot of NXT 2.0. None of that matters compared to the man's health, so we're just glad he's still here. And yeah, it does suck in that sense, but I think he himself just looked very gracious to still be with us, and you just got to be happy for that portion, because it sounded like very easily he could not have been. And if you haven't checked out, you know, that interview with Stephen A. Smith, I believe that should still be on ESPN's YouTube page and such. I would definitely take a look at that for anybody who missed that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and for all the listeners, if you haven't watched the Hall of Fame ceremony, definitely watch the Hall of Fame ceremony. During Undertaker's speech, you know, Triple H was a big part of the Undertaker's career, and the Undertaker showed extreme gratitude. And when the camera was zooming in on Triple H, you could tell he was doing everything he could to, you know, to stay to not break down, basically. Just amazing relationship that those two have had, and just big thanks to both of them for everything, all the memories and everything they've done for this industry. So
tears in his eyes for sure. Yeah, glad you brought that up. Definitely, thanks for that, Rock.
I don't have Triple H's music, but I have something that's supposedly medieval music.
Not be going up
medieval music. So I gotta ask a question though: if you guys feel this way, how does it feel to watch wrestlers? I mean, I could say the same thing. As I grow older, I see wrestlers that I used to watch, like Ultimate Warrior, and them die. So how does it feel? I mean, honestly, it would be like he would be like every other wrestler and traditionally just fade off into the sunset and never see him again. But with him doing what he did, do you think that was planned? Do you think this was like the main plan to retire at WrestleMania? Or do you think that there was like decisions being made towards it that he finally just said, "Hey, I can't do this anymore"? Like, do you think that he knew? You think that he knew a year or so ago? Because I know this happened this happened a while ago. They kind of kept it hush hush.
Well, it's happening. Well, they kept it hush hush, but then it happened. It happened, I think, in the later quarter of last year. But I think he probably would have kept making WrestleMania appearances as long as he was healthy enough with no defibrillator, because basically, look at how long Vince, in his power position, would have grudge matches. You know, he'd get out of the suit and stuff. I think he would have had at least a few more WrestleManias left in him. He definitely would have had a match with Cody in him. I don't know if that would have happened at this year or whatnot, but it's a shame. But I said, you know, a lot of people don't survive these, you know, scares. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of theories. You know, a lot of people can put that out there, but you know, at the end of the day, you know, with young daughters and things that are more important in life, you just have to, be thankful he's still there, and he's walking around with a defibrillator, but at least he's alive, so at the end of the day, you got to just say, hey, man, that man had a hell of a career, Hall of Fame career, no matter what. And he's still he's set for life. He's still highly influential in WWE and in the business. It is sad to, as Rock said, to not have that kind of final goodbye match on his terms. But, I think you got to put the bigger picture and just be thankful you're still here to tell your story.
Absolutely. 52 years young, man. Way too young, but it is what it is, and definitely glad he's still around and he can be there for his family.
Yeah, 100%. Well, let's go back to that Bobby Lashley Omos match.
Gotcha.
This is a little more fresher because this is one of the ones I went back to rewatch. Kind of tough to watch this one.
I'll agree with you on that.
Omos definitely needs some seasoning, to put it the best. Just a very big man. There's no question on this. I think just the spectacle himself. But to compare him to Andre the Giant, for example, all of us seen Andre in the twilight of his career when he's completely knows how to work, knows exactly what he's doing, facials, movements, everything. You got Andre kind of, he's winding down his career, but then you take like another giant like Omos, who has all the potential in the world, but is so green. He's like a baby in comparison, someone you having a palm in your hands. And I think it's really tough. WWE wants to put this giant on TV, but you really need a place to allow him to become seasoned before you put him in the ring. I think what we've seen on Monday, since we're recording this, obviously well after WrestleMania, but when you see on Monday I think they're making steps to do that with MVP to kind of give him that coach to get him better, not just talking, but I think just moving and using ring knowledge to make wiser decisions in that ring, because this was a tough match to watch.
Yeah, it really was a tough match to watch, but and I agree with everything that you said, MC, but this was Omos's best match that he's had, like, in my opinion, at least. Like, AJ Styles couldn't even give him the kind of match that Bobby gave him. Bobby made him look good, as good as he possibly can for a guy who is this green, for a guy who, is not seasoned, as you so properly said. This definitely was Omos's best match, and I think it's fantastic that they're putting MVP with him. I just hope that he's willing to, mouth shut, ears open, as we say in the business, and listen to everything that MVP has to teach him, and hopefully Omos can be one of those great big man giants that we love to see. I also want to give credit to the Big Show's early WCW days. He was 7 foot tall and 350, something around there. Lean and big. I think this guy was doing tip ups. He was jumping off the top rope. I mean, extremely athletic. Drop kicks, athletic, entertaining, solid big man. Again, big men, they sell tickets. There's no arguing with that at all. So obviously, Omos is going to be on the WrestleMania card. People just love to see literally larger than life human beings battle each other. We're doing the exact same thing in SCW. We have the 7 foot tall anomaly, Alex Ace, battling the near 7 foot tall, 350 pound Capane. And I promise you that is going to sell a ton of tickets just from the sheer size of these guys. When Ace came in that ring and booted Capane's head off and left him laying in the ring, everybody was in shock and awe just seeing these two mammoth men go head to head. So of course we're going to see Omos, and Omos is going to be in the card of WrestleMania, just because of his sheer size, and people love to see it. But he definitely needs a lot more work, and so hopefully MVP can be that guy to bring that out of him.
Yeah, let's hope so, for sure. I'm kind of shocked how quickly Lashley is converted into a babyface role. Crowds seem to be behind him in a WrestleMania. I know at Raw too. So kudos to Bobby Lashley. I always felt the pairing with MVP was just great, incredible, almost like Brock and Paul Heyman. But they've kind of proven me wrong on both accounts. Both Brock and Lashley now have blossomed into staunch, I guess, baby faces for WWE now. It's kind of a little surprising.
But the Hurt Business was another failed dropped ball attempt from WWE. I love the Hurt Business. I thought that stable could have gone so far. Heel Bobby Lashley with MVP and Shelton Benjamin, and I can't remember the other guy's name, but that was such a good...
Cedric Alexander.
Yeah, Cedric. Thank you very much, MC. Yeah, such a good stable. I was so disappointed when they broke that up. Like I thought the Hurt Business could have been the next big deal, but it is what it is.
I honestly think Vince just sees the babyface and Lashley sees the. He just probably just sees like he does in a lot of guys, like Theory and such. He just looks at, looks at him and says, "This is a guy that's going to draw me money." As a good-looking man right in the ring, and he's just gonna, his smile, everything. I think Vince just wants him as a babyface. He broke that up early because I think this is what Vince's dream is. He wants Lashley in this babyface role like he was originally, and I think this is what he wants. And the crowd is behind Lashley, so I mean Vince is gonna get what he wants here. He's got him primed for another run now on the babyface side. So we'll see if Vince is, We'll see if Vince was right, because I agree with you. I felt like the Hurt Business was definitely disassembled too quickly.
Yeah, and Bobby Lashley, like you said, he is the perfect specimen, and it is nice to see him finally get his. It's nice to finally see him get his main event spot that he probably honestly ended up deserving back when he first debuted, but. Better times have prevailed, and now we're finally starting to see the awesome Bobby Lashley, the TNA Bobby Lashley that was just dominant. So it's nice to see that come full circle into the WWE.
Well, he's just not going to be in a feud with the very green Omos, so we'll see. I don't know if he's good enough to carry the big man, but I guess time will tell on that one.
Time will definitely tell.
Well, Coach JC, I know you're going to love this one. Anything goes match, the Jackass, and Coach JC mentioned to me off air how much he had seen the Jackass movie. Well,
Its own star, Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn in an Anything Goes match in WrestleMania. A lot of shenanigans in this one. A lot of shenanigans.
Oh, yeah. So, before
we get into this one, I got to ask you. When you got done talking about Logan Paul and you're worried that he was going to make light of the business you love so much, and to put it in perspective, people die doing this business. People sell themselves out, run their body through the mill, push themselves to where in situations, I don't know if it's why Triple H has what he has. I was reading about it. It sounds like he was sick and his heart just wasn't strong enough to keep up with his sickness, and that's what caused the heart failure. But that kind of stuff makes me wonder if your body's been beaten so much and you spend so many days doing this business that you bring in someone, and nothing against Johnny Knoxville and the Jackass crew, but you bring them in and almost make it into a circus. Almost, in my opinion, offends and disrespects the business.
You said it best. It's a circus match. It's the best way to describe it.
Well, and put it this way, it's done for ratings. It's done for the reason why, Jackass. What always makes me laugh about Jackass is the beginning of it always says, "This is performed by professional stuntmen. Don't do this at home." And you're like, you're not professional stuntmen. You're freaking skateboarders who do shit and just hurt themselves. And you've done it so many times that you just said, now we've become professionals at dumb shit. So I don't think getting hit by a bull and landing on your head and knocking yourself into the hospital is a professional stunt. And I don't see why WWE would take that approach other than just to bring him out there to squash him, but to give them a match on WrestleMania and just to kind of focus on it. Just not even bringing him out there. I mean, I get one if you're going to bring him out there like as a guest of another wrestler, just to kind of make attention to the audience that, Jackass and WWE are collaborating here so you can get more audience and have a wider audience. But to give them a match, and again, nothing against Johnny Knoxville and Jackass, but I just think it makes light. It just kind of puts it in perspective, like, hey man, all these guys who train their ass off and fucking travel around and spend their time in the weight room and spend their time being healthy so they can perform and entertain, can just easily be overshadowed by some guy who makes movies, and he can come in and do what you've been training all your life for. That was my bell. That was my time.
The the eyeballs. That's all I could say. This was meant timed perfectly with the Jackass movie. This match was for eyeballs. I honestly thought, and Rock can agree if he thinks this was going to happen, I honestly thought this was going to be an Intercontinental title match at some point. And I don't know, because it didn't even make the card now. I think they definitely wanted Knoxville to win, and I have a feeling that maybe they pulled the plug on that and had Ricochet beat Zayn right before this match happened, because they didn't want Johnny Knoxville to walk around with the Intercontinental title and make it maybe even more of a joke than it was. But I don't know, like, could you devalue the belt anymore by not even having it on the card? So, I mean, what would you think about that, Rock? Well, did you feel like that was going to happen too at some point?
So I definitely agree with everything that Coach JC said, and it is true. Like I love Johnny Knoxville and I love Jackass. I'm a huge fan of Knoxville's work and the Jackass show and movies. This match was a match that should have been on SmackDown. It should have been on one of the lower key pay-per-views. You have guys who work their asses off their whole lives, and to put this match on WrestleMania, which is the Super Bowl of pro wrestling, definitely was not a fan of that. However, especially when you don't even have a United States Championship or an Intercontinental Championship match on either night. We have 2 nights of WrestleMania now, and neither night gets an Intercontinental title or a United States title. Like, if that's not shitting on those 2 belts, I don't know what is.
Yeah, we're going to have two celebrities and an announcer wrestle, and an almost 80-year-old chairman.
Right, exactly, which we'll definitely get into that later on. But with all that being said, and this is probably going to be unpopular opinion, I actually thoroughly enjoyed this match. Sami Zayn is probably one of the only guys that could have pulled this match off, and Sami Zayn worked his ass off in this match.
The type of personality that Johnny Knoxville probably was growing up. I don't know the history or his life story, but give the man kudos, for jumping in the ring and even attempting all this, because I could bet you, and Zayn's a pro, but he easily could have got his ass whooped if Zayn wanted to just give him a few.
He would have
teach him a lesson.
He would have taken it, because if you watch Jackass, Butterbean smashed his face in one of the episodes, he got ran over by a bull not once but twice in the movies. In this latest one, he got flipped like 3 times in the air, and when he landed, he looked like a dead person.
Yes, he did.
It was horrible. It was horrible.
It was.
And
he was snoring. I mean, he was out cold.
Yeah, he started snoring, and that's the thing is, this dude, man, I give him credit. He's older. I think he's in his 51 years old, and he got smashed. And he does it because he says, I'm going to do all the dangerous stunts because this is kind of his baby. But I look at it as like him going into the wrestling ring. Nothing against you guys, but was probably the least of the dangerous things he's ever done. He
completely agree.
He went into a controlled environment, so he's not fucking scared of anything, because when you get a bull that just smashes you and you land, and like Rock says, you don't see very many people who get knocked so unconscious that they just start snoring because they're so out. But that part of Jackass Forever, or whatever the last movie was called, dude, that was bad. And he even said,
Johnny Knoxville. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Coach.
He even said it on Howard Stern that's it. He can't get any more concussions. Like, he's like on Howard Stern, he almost looked brain dead when he was doing the interview. He was like out of it. He just looked like you took one too many hits to the head. You could just tell.
I think that's why probably this one was more of a comedy circus. It was the best I would think a way you could describe it, because it was basically Zayn getting his block clean, so to speak. I mean, Zayn in that second Helluva kick on SmackDown really looked like he kicked him in the face. So, I mean, there was nothing that I can remember in this match of any sort. I know he did one at the beginning, which was cool. And then if made you think, well, he could have just pinned him there. But I think at that point in time, then Zayn was basically like a punching bag for Knoxville. And just for the comedy purposes of that, I mean, give Zayn credit for, he's a pro's pro, though, regardless of how I feel about him as a person. The guy is a consummate pro in the squared circle. And if he could go out there and make Johnny Knoxville look like, $1 million as far as in the wrestling ring, it takes two to tango. I mean, Knoxville really wasn't getting the knocks, so to speak, in this match. He was doing the knocking along with his jackass buddies.
You can call him at 407-574-1532. 407-574-1532. If you need him to clean your house or maybe give you a pedicure, he's going to need a lot of odd jobs after WrestleMania because I'm going to retire him.
Oh, what a great build. And honestly, this match wasn't Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn. This match was Jackass versus Sami Zayn, because you had Party Boy, Chris Pontius get involved, you had Wee Man get involved. You basically had the whole freaking crew get involved in this match. But honestly, what slayed me was the hand, because that was one of my favorite stunts in the Jackass movies, when they did the big hand slapping the guys. And when they brought that out for this match, dude, I lost my shit. I was laughing so hard at that. That was so funny. And then the memes that came. Mae Young and Mark Henry's baby finally debuted at WrestleMania. Oh my God.
That is pretty funny.
Yeah, like I said, despite everything, and I agree with everything you both have said, but I actually really did enjoy this match. I just wish it wasn't on WrestleMania. I wish it was on a lower key pay-per-view or a SmackDown or something.
Yeah, because the way I look at it is, this is your guys' Super Bowl, so it'd be like taking the Super Bowl and then bringing out those little Pop Warner kids at halftime to do the little games they usually do at like the professionals games. They let these little Pop Warner kids play like a mini football game while everybody's at halftime. That's how I look at it. That'd be kind of the feeling the same way. It's like, okay, we're in the middle of the Super Bowl, and by the way, the Mighty Mike Cougars are here to play a quick game for you guys during halftime. It's like, so.
Right.
Like I said, I don't.
To play it's at the Masters. We're gonna have some miniature golf here at the Masters.
Yeah.
In the middle of the match.
We brought a windmill out, and we're gonna go ahead and have a quick little, quick one. So again, I thought it was.
We're going to bring out Tiger Woods to play in a miniature golf.
I took it kind of like a slap in the face, but again, it's entertaining in general. It's entertaining anyways. I mean, what they do, the Jackass whole franchise, is what they do is entertain you with them sacrificing themselves. And again, if you look at the theme of it, it's no different than what WWE does for the last however many years. It's the same thing without the comedy, really. But there used to be a lot of comedy. I mean, it's like Doink the Clown and stuff. No one ever really, he was a wrestler, but still, it was kind of making something fun. But I think just to put it on a main event, think about all those other people in the card who probably wish they were on WrestleMania, and Johnny Knoxville gets it.
That Knoxville versus Zayn match was what it was, and yeah, we all have different thoughts on it, but yeah, it drew the eyeballs. That's what it did. So
it was fun to watch. It wasn't a WrestleMania match, but it was fun.
Yeah, I agree. We forgot about this one, so we'll just rewind this real quick because I know we're trying to move on pretty quickly in the show. We had Sheamus, who teamed with Rich Holland, accompanied by Butch, a.k.a. Pete Dunne. They took on the New Day, King Woods, and Kofi Kingston. Kind of surprised Rich got the nod with this, especially. I don't think there's any heat on him. Given the fact that they won too, so I don't know if Sheamus was due for WrestleMania victory, but I was kind of shocked at this one. But I didn't look at WrestleMania records, so maybe Sheamus was owed a victory, but it was Ridge that got the pin, so that was surprising too.
Very surprising, and this match was originally supposed to be on night one. It was cut due to time. So to be honest, I was actually surprised that they even did this match on night two. But night two, they ended up actually cutting a little early, so it all ended up working out. But I was surprised that this match even made it on the card. And even more so surprising that Ridge got the rub at WrestleMania, especially after the big knee injury. But, accidents happen. Anybody can rewatch that and know that Ridge did not intentionally hurt Big E. And obviously, Ridge is probably very apologetic. And hopefully, if he's being professional, he's calling Big E and talking with him every single day. And, they're just working through all that. And WWE, they recognize that kind of stuff. They recognize that work ethic. So that's probably explains why he hasn't gotten completely buried from this.
Yeah, get well soon to Big E. Definitely could have been, as we talking about Triple H earlier, the Big E injury definitely could have been a lot scarier and much worse. So we're definitely thankful that he's okay. And yeah, he definitely could have been paralyzed or worse. Yeah,
absolutely,
definitely thankful and hopefully he makes full recovery back in the ring too. But yeah, unfortunately, this was fairly quick. So yeah, just like you said, they did give these guys their due and put them on the card. Definitely a quick match, and I think it was kind of looked like it was more built on trying to push Butch as some pitbull. So maybe Pete Dunne will get a little bit of a chance to showcase his intense style because already they're using him kind of like a rabid dog.
Hopefully. Pete Dunne is an amazing talent. He did fantastic things on NXT UK. For all the listeners, please watch his stuff. He is an amazing, talented guy. And hopefully with this new gimmick and this new rebranding of him that, it'll pay off. Hopefully he'll have a really good career.
Definitely known as the Bruiserweight before, and his past character he's no longer referred to as that. He definitely looks a lot smaller than the two guys, so it is an odd pairing. So in order to try to offset that, they're making him kind of like a rabid dog. So I don't know. Hopefully it's not a joke because his wrestling's not a joke. I'm a big fan of Pete Dunne too. So hopefully maybe this will lead to something for him. I don't want to say I'm not a huge fan of how this branding's worked out, but without an X division or cruiserweight division, there's not much you can do here. So the fact that he's getting TV time, he's got an opportunity, and that's all we can hope for is he makes the most of it.
Rest in peace, 24 or 205 Live.
Yes, indeed. Let's move on to the women's tag team match. We had different predictions on this one, but I won't say that mine was correct, but we had.
You can say you were correct.
And I'll tell you why again. Queen Zelina and Carmella defended their tag team championships against Natalya and Shayna Baszler. Rock's pick of Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, and Naomi and Sasha Banks, who I believe didn't have a WrestleMania win. She got that win on this one, and her and Naomi became tag champions. What did you think of this one?
They sure did. And you know what? I'm actually okay with it because Sasha Banks has lost like every single WrestleMania. So she was way overdue for a victory at WrestleMania. So good for her. I was a little disappointed that we didn't get to see any interference from Naomi's big rival. And her name is, I'm drawing.
Oh, yeah. You're thinking of Deville, Sonya.
That's it, Sonya Deville. Thank you. How could I forget Sonya Deville? Sonya.
Yeah, that's right. She wasn't even involved in it.
Yeah, I was really surprised that she didn't show up, but it was good. Sasha Banks deserved a WrestleMania win, even though it was a tag team match. And again, Liv Morgan and Rhea, that was my picks for this match, just because I simply wanted to see them get a little bit more of a rub. But, the match was what it was. These girls did the best job they could with what they had. And congratulations to the new women's tag team champions of Naomi and Sasha Banks, the odd couple.
Agree. They were in Team Bad way back in the day, so it wasn't completely off the realm possibility for them to reteam up here in this match. I will say this, though. I know DraftKings is huge, big sponsor of WWE. If you really there's not huge money. I mean, somebody did win $500 on night one. So, I mean, off of a scripted programming, somebody knew something to get I think it was all 14 correct or whatever. If you really are trying to outthink the thing, just remember, if somebody is coming off, WWE is not going to do like an Undertaker streak again. I'll tell you that right off the bat. I believe that got so out of control. If you're looking at predictions for the next year or whatever, look at what they did last year and start to really think. It's very rare for someone to win 2 WrestleManias in a row. They will alternate it, and eventually things will correct itself on the WrestleMania records. They do look at that. Don't think that they don't, because a lot of the predictions I've made are based off of that. And if I would have dealt quicker, I probably would have predicted Sheamus was due 1. But if you want to actually try to win maybe that $500 one year, you better look at the WrestleMania records, because as funny as it sounds, betting on a scripted programming, they do go and they do look into that. You know,
with the exception of Sasha Banks, because I think she's like 9-1 at WrestleMania.
1-9, yeah.
Yeah, 1-9. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, and a couple of people won. 2 times. Look at Roman Reigns, obviously too. His record is going to be. He won last year, and he stacked them up last year. Won this one, so it's not a given. But you could kind of take stories into a factor when you're making those bets too. But good chances, if they haven't won, that eventually the things will correct in that one. I think it was fairly obvious that Sasha had to win eventually. She wasn't going to go winless the longer she stayed in WWE. So just kind of take a look at that if you're ever betting on scripted programming, folks. And so I think we're moving on to the Edge. Speaking of Rhea Ripley, I know you're a big fan of her as well. It's looking like her and Liv might be doing like a split. There is some rumors that she might be joining the stable that happened. It looks like it's going to happen in this next match is the Edge's new stable, which some are calling very similar to the House of Black from AEW. But Edge came out in a very spectacular entrance where he rose from the stage on a throne, and his entrance very impressive. And then you had his opponent's AJ Styles entrance. He cuts his face on the sign, and he's bleeding immediately on his way to the ring.
Yeah.
And,
oh my gosh.
So I could just picture Vince in the backstage, because we know we were supposed to expect the bloodbath between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, which we'll talk about that later. We never got that, but apparently maybe Vince off his rocker backstage. He's bleeding, damn it! He's bleeding. That ruins everything.
I was actually looking at that, and they said that after he hit his head, the stage production crew had to tell the rest of the wrestlers, like, when you run out, there's a part of the sign that's sticking out, so watch for that.
Yeah,
right in the middle of the show, like no one,
dry run, yeah.
Nobody noticed that sticking out. Like, let's just, oops, forgot about that part.
We could have put some foam padding on, but let's just let the wrestler cut his face open.
Wouldn't that have been funny
when he comes around the corner?
If they went out there with like a Nerf football and they stuck it on the corner of the sign, they're like, "This will help."
Yeah, let's tape some Nerf footballs to this right now and try to keep this under wraps so we don't have another bloodbath incident with wrestling.
Yeah.
We don't want to.
Before he even makes it to the ring, he's bleeding.
Every match from there on, everybody's just bleeding when they're coming in the match. Like, what's going on? Everybody's bleeding. Everybody's bleeding.
AJ Styles. Yeah, he looked visibly frustrated. Like, when he was making his entrance, like, you could see he was, like, legit pissed off. Like, you could just tell he was, like, that really flew
Don't you
him
think,
off.
Brock, if you were going to the ring and you ran into something and it hurt pretty bad, that you would kind of lose your focus for a minute? You'd be like, what the hell? That just happened.
Oh, yeah, and the show's got to go on, so the dude's probably seeing stars, trying to keep it together while he's making his entrance. Yeah, it was very obvious he was visibly frustrated, and rightfully so.
All right.
Yeah, and that match, it was entertaining. I don't quite think it was what I wanted from it. They're going to face off many more times, so and the distraction was very bad. All that Damian Priest came out, and he's just looking on. He's not even looking at AJ, and AJ looks at him for a brief second, then tries this phenomenal form. Then he's speared, which was cool. But like, you're telling me that's the interference that cost him the match? Like,
Yeah.
whoever kind of booked that, but very awkward. And I think that just sums up this match in a way. And, you know, from the get-go with the cut on the face from the sign, a lot of awkwardness to that. Could have been a lot better. Definitely was still good. I mean, the build-up was I felt strong too, because you had this new version of Edge. I mean, the theme song has grown on me. But I think we'll see a better match between these two before it's all said and done.
Yeah, I have to agree 100%. This match was actually my most highly anticipated match from both nights, simply because I wasn't expecting Stone Cold Steve Austin to actually wrestle, so that was a nice surprise. But this was the match that I was looking forward to the most, and surprisingly, this match, which was still good. I'm not taking anything away from either one of these guys.
Yeah.
But it was, it definitely did not live up to the expectations. Cody and Seth, you know, definitely had the superior match if we're going to compare the two. But still a good match. And, you know, I wasn't on board with the whole Edge rebranding, but this entrance in at WrestleMania, it's growing on me, and I see where they're going with it now. It's basically going to be the Brood 2.0, and just like you alluded to earlier, I think Rhea Ripley would be a fantastic addition to this already star-studded, you know, faction that's being built. So, plus
rumors of her and Ciampa, basically Tommaso Ciampa, possibly being
I can see that
faction. Yeah,
as long as he's going to be the what was he called? The Bloodheart or the something heart?
Blackheart.
Blackheart. Yeah. We're going to bring the Blackheart back. That he'd be a perfect fit for this stable. So
yeah, it'd be a boost for both their careers to join the stable. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens on that one.
Plus, a fun fact: Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest can share pants. When Ripley lost her gear, she had to borrow pants from Priest.
Lots of chains going on there.
Definitely lots of chains, lots of black, you know, the whole goth thing. Totally love it. So
chains and the braids of Damian Priest now. So yeah, this will we'll have to see how they proceed going forward with that one. But yeah, definitely I think better matches are ahead with AJ and Edge. So
absolutely,
let's move on quick. Yeah, definitely. We'll try to move on quickly because I know we got a terrible amount of time left. So we're going to get to another celebrity / announcer type match. We had Austin Theory going at it, the Mr. McMahon's new chosen one, taking on the punter turned announcer turned wrestler, Pat McAfee. And I'll precursor because this led into another match. And this was rumored with McMahon's documentary coming out. We had actually Pat did fairly well. I mean, everything from the cheerleaders coming out, he's punting into the crowd. Pat never ceases to amaze me. He's a little bit of a aloof, kind of goofy character, but something seems to work with him in there. Showed a ton of athleticism, and yeah, this match surprised me. I'm not going to lie. It's just, I think it should have ended there. The whole Mr. McMahon thing turned real goofy when he challenged Pat, or vice versa. The match it was saved only by one man, Rock, and you can talk about what happens there.
So I'm going to rewind just a little bit. And personally, I think this match should have been Austin Theory versus Coach JC, because Pat McAfee reminds me of Coach JC all day long. Like, I could see Coach JC announcing and standing up on the table when Rick Boogs. Like, I don't know. Every time I see him do that, it just reminds me of Coach JC every single
Rick Boobs.
Rick Boobs, yeah. But no, again, this Pat McAfee, I think that we have a sleeper superstar on our hands in Pat McAfee. Like, he was extremely over, and yeah, granted, it was in Texas, and didn't Pat play for Dallas during his football career?
I thought he played for the Colts.
Oh, I don't know who he played for, but he was extremely over. And
yeah, crowd loved him. They were singing
they absolutely loved him.
To the that's damn song's escaping me. If we played the song, obviously we'd be taken down off YouTube. But Yeah, they were singing his theme. And I think that everything was fine at the end. The whole McMahon thing was, just summed up. Pat defeats Austin Theory. Mr. McMahon is strolling around. Doesn't even slap Austin Theory. He just was sternly looking at whatever, and then he starts to take off his coat because Pat McAfee's talking trash to McMahon. So the almost 80-year-old Mr. McMahon comes in the ring, and it's just such an awkward, leads to a match after Theory attacks McAfee, and then you got McMahon picking up the victory, basically deflating everything that Pat McAfee just did against, granted he beat a young and upcoming wrestler who's going to be a staple for WWE for years. So that on one end is weird, but then you basically just took him down by having an old Vince defeat him by kicking a football into his ribs and then pinning him. And then this whole thing was ridiculous. McMahon gives away that somebody's coming out when the series music hits. And then, I'll just spoil it. There's Stone Cold comes out. It's the only one who could save that segment. And we have the geriatric version of Austin versus McMahon happen.
We have the single biggest, best talking point of night 2. The worst Stone Cold Stunner sell in the history of professional wrestling.
This is awful. As if the
first one, as if the first stunner McMahon ever took wasn't bad enough. No, they way worse this time. I've rewatched that video at least 25 times, and I laugh every single time. This is the worst stunner. All the listeners, please watch. Just YouTube the worst stunner to Vince McMahon or something along those lines.
And we talked about that the first episode too. We talked about how it was this whole horrible.
You're gonna laugh so hard. It's so good.
This is just horrible. But Stone Cold saves it.
He does.
Gives him the stunner, and then he stuns Pat McAfee too. So Pat, if your victory already wasn't brushed under the rug enough, here we're just gonna give you a beer and then kick you in the stomach and stunner you too.
Okay, but the camera did get a split second of him laying on the outside of the ring, chugging the beer. That was hilarious. What a great moment that was.
Mick Foley's reaction to the stunner.
Oh, no, not that. Oh, come on, Steve.
Oh, I Stone Cold.
I
missed that.
Show replay of that. Vinnie Mac.
All right.
Yeah. Mick Foley hit the nail on the head. That was hilarious.
Just completely awful, but I guess, like you said, Rock, to allude to it, in such the best way imaginable, I guess, is the best way. If you're going to go bad, you might as well just completely look completely ridiculous. And yes, that was just off the wall stunner there, just completely.
Yeah,
just
it was so bad. It was so bad that people actually, the SCW guys, we were all talking because we watched this together. We were all like, that was so bad. Did they plan it to be that bad intentionally? That's how bad it was. We were like, well, maybe they planned it to be that. No, it wasn't planned to be that bad.
It was about as bad as Vince McMahon's facelift. As
Kermit
MC would say, he looked like Kermit the Frog.
That's what I kept texting people. Just Mr. McMahon just reminded me of Kermit the Frog. That's all I could say after I see it.
Maybe he couldn't. Maybe he couldn't see it because his eyes were pulled back so far from his skin being stretched that he couldn't see the actual kick coming. So he didn't know what to do.
Vince wins the match. He wins the match by punting a football, the weakest, crappiest kick into Pat McAfee and gets the 3 count. It was just so bad. All around, it was just so bad.
Maybe Stone Cold grazed him in the nuts or something, so I know he's been known to do that too. And maybe and then,
it looked like he kicked him. It looked like he really kicked him right below the belly button, where it probably hurts, baby.
Yeah. First he collapses. Then he tries to pick himself up and stumbles backwards while Steve's almost trying to help him not fall.
Couldn't stop it. He stumbles back and then, finally gets it. And then he crumples even worse than he did in his very first stunner, like you said.
When he takes the stunner, he falls he just crumples. That's the best way to describe it. Like he just like crumples down in like this weird, awkward. It was horrible. It was the worst stuff.
Afterwards, he had Metamucil and he went back to his room. All right.
Drank some prune juice.
Yeah. So we got like 10 minutes. So what's next?
So we got the last match.
This is the one.
We'll go to that real quick. Roman Reigns defended his. This is basically unification belt, unification title match. Roman Reigns put up his Universal Championship record holder against Brock Lesnar's WWE Championship. This was billed by Brock to beat a bloodbath, Rock, and it didn't turn out to that. In fact, if anything, it looked like it ended up a little abruptly after Brock's Kimura lock on him. Were you a little disappointed like I was that this match didn't go longer?
Little disappointed is putting it lightly. It was extremely awkward, like uncomfortable awkward, how quickly this match ended. So, first and foremost, the match was a typical Roman Reigns match. A million Superman punches, a million spears, just finisher after finisher after finisher, falsie after falsie. That's all the match was. The match wasn't great. It went south pretty quickly. Brock did his best to try to save it, doing the Suplex City thing. But that Kimura lock, holy crap. Like, he had that thing wrenched in. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was intentional or if Roman just twisted weird. I don't know what happened. But he definitely messed up his shoulder bad. And they had to go home and end the match. And when you have an entire room full of professional wrestlers watching this, and all of a sudden the match is just over and we're all looking at each other like, what? That was it? Like, that was horrible. You could definitely tell that it was awkward, and the match was supposed to go on longer. And just like you said, it was supposed to be a bloodbath, like they did the whole build-up at Madison Square Garden where Roman left Brock a bloody mess in the center of the ring, and, everyone wanted to kind of see that retribution happen at WrestleMania. But unfortunately, we had another injury, and Roman was hurt to the point to where he could barely even lift the title above his head. So, unfortunate injury, but it did happen, and yeah, the match definitely was a big letdown overall.
Well, they did. I did read about it, and they basically said that he hit that Kimura pretty hard, and he popped his shoulder right out of place. And although they tried to keep a match going and trying to do spots, you could tell when you see pictures based on the sportswiki.com. They zoom in on Roman Reigns' shoulder, and you can see that thing already swelling up and looking pretty bad. So yeah. There's a difference. He's a professional fighter. Got a little carried away. It's too bad. And
that's it. That's it. Brock Lesnar is the real deal. You can't take any of that away from him. And yeah, he locked that thing in. He locks it in for real, obviously.
Yeah, sadly, it kind of. It unintentionally makes himself look bad. It's not going to hurt his standing, obviously, given the nature of how that happened. But, yeah, when a babyface has something you have to deliver, and he promised a bloodbath. So even though he didn't win the title, too, he also didn't deliver on his bloodbath promise. I think when you see these guys cross paths again, they're going to have to rectify this. Otherwise, it'll just kind of seem empty enough. And, like you said, Rock injuries happen.
They also said that Lesnar also did something to his ribs not long after he popped his shoulder out. So they went approximately 12 minutes before Brock realized that Roman's arm was legit out of place.
Ooh.
There was a scene where the camera pans out a little bit, and they'll probably cut it from Peacock eventually. But during the live broadcast, there was a part where during the double down when you could see Lesnar like checking in on Brock Lesnar, Lesnar was checking in on Roman Reigns. So he obviously knew that there was something seriously wrong, and that's probably why they went home with the spear and had to end it so quickly.
Unfortunate. For sure. Unfortunately, Goldberg match with him ended up, the rematch ended up being better than this one.
Honestly, I hope we don't see those two wrestle again. They've wrestled each other so much over this last year. We've had 3 WrestleManias now with those two. Can we just be done with Lesnar and Reigns, please? Can we just move on?
Yeah, I would probably be okay with that.
They will, because they're going to have Rock's prediction that The Rock is going to wrestle Roman Reigns.
That's right. WrestleMania 39, the main event, Roman Reigns versus The Rock for the WWE Universal Championship.
It's a nephew versus the uncle.
WrestleMania 39.
That's what Rock's predicting.
Yeah, WrestleMania 39, Hollywood. They got to do it.
They got to do it. Cousin versus cousin, you know. And,
Rock can't have Roman champion forever. Cody's got to get his dream realized. Come on now.
I mean, I hope so. I hope you're right. I really hope it happens, but I'm sticking to my guns, too, that sadly, I feel like WWE's going to drop the ball, and Cody's going to be Mr. Pre-Show Mania come SummerSlam. I hope that doesn't happen, but WWE has proven otherwise.
I think he's gonna. I don't think he's sticking around for that. I think he's going full bore. That's it. I don't picture him sticking around to be buried like the Stardust thing again.
While that was entertaining, he did throw out a little Stardust stuff in his match with Rollins. I thought that was
definitely good stuff there.
Well, this show was like WrestleMania podcast. So this is 2 episodes of Road After WrestleMania with SCW wrestler, pro wrestler, Rock the Ramrock. Thank you, Ramrock, for spending time with us. Also, oh crap, there goes our music. And then also, thank you very much for MC for being a part of this and organizing this main WrestleMania podcast. Make sure you subscribe to Me Podcast You Listen. Thank you for putting through and listening to all of this. Remember, Me Podcast You Listen also talks about other things other than wrestling, but mostly wrestling. So, anything else, guys, before we exit out of here?
Rock, we got something coming up shortly with CW. You got something to plug real quick?
I just want to thank you both very much, and obviously all the listeners, subscribe to Me Podcast You Listen. I always love being a part of the show. You guys are always amazing. Right now, the Ramrock next showing will be at Traditional Wrestling Entertainment in Stanton, California, April 30th, live. I'll be in a triple threat match against Ryan Riven, the first of the Fallen, and Vito Fratelli. So that's definitely going to be an instant classic barn burner. 3 huge men going at it. Looking forward to that match. And then from there, back to SCW, May the 20th. We're back live at Sun Studios for Sonoran Championship Wrestling. And you're just going to have to stay tuned and show up. I got big things planned for that show as well.
And where do we stay tuned, Rock?
You can stay tuned. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to plug it for you. At the Ramrock on IG, just like you could follow us at Me Podcast You Listen on IG. So much good stuff on the Rock's feed there. We see it all the time.
There you go. Absolutely. Right. Follow me on IG, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, all the social media outlets, the Ramrock, SCW, and Me Podcast You Listen.
Yes.
Okay, just when you think that we're wrapping the show up, we trick you, and we put you right back into another 4 minutes of Me Podcast You Listen, because we definitely have a lot to say. So keep tuning in every week as we put shows out. And remember, tune in, subscribe, listen, support the Ramrock. Thank you very much for coming out. And then remember, Me Podcast You Listen can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and also on YouTube. Thank you for listening to Me Podcast You Listen. I'm Coach JC. Thank you, MC. Have a good night.